Welcome, beautiful soul. I'm Lisa Grail. This podcast isn't for everyone. I understand this. It's not for those who want to keep playing the game of pleasure-pain. The comfort of food followed by the slow discomfort of sickness, fatigue, fast aging, and doctor visits. And if that's the experience someone chooses, I honor it. I'm not imposing my lifestyle and my choices. I'm sharing my experience with someone who really needs this. And this space is for those who want a different quality of life. First of all, we live in a world that has been deeply conditioned, brainwashed, even to believe that constant eating is survival, that food is pleasure, that nourishment comes from the outside in. But what if that's not the truth? What if it's just an inherited pattern encoded into our DNA through generations of trauma, scarcity, and unconscious living? Most of what we eat today doesn't nourish us. It feeds the fungi, the parasites, the decay, not the life force. We age fast, we feel heavy, we numb our senses, and we call it normal. But disease isn't normal. Chronic exhaustion isn't normal. Constant hunger isn't normal. What if your body did not need to be fed constantly, but simply cleansed, awakened, and allowed to return to its original intelligence? What if you could live from light, from breath, from presence, from your inner flame, and the state of higher consciousness? This isn't about restriction. It's about liberation. It's not a diet. It's not austerity. It's a decision to live in communion with life itself, to treat the body not as a trash bin for cravings, but as a sacred vessel of consciousness. This journey is only for those who feel the pull, not out of fear or control or rebellion, but out of deep, unwavering love for life itself. If that's you, welcome. Let's begin. So let's go deeper. Let's talk about food addiction, the most socially accepted, normalized, and even celebrated form of addiction on the planet. We judge the alcoholic, we fear the drug addict, but we proudly post our food porn, celebrate indulgence, and call it self-love. But let's be honest, the mechanics are the same. Just like with alcohol, food addiction hijacks your neurochemistry. It spikes dopamine. It soothes anxiety. It numbs discomfort. It becomes a comfort blanket until it becomes a prison. And just like alcohol, it's not the thing itself that kills you quickly. It's what it does slowly, over time. Alcohol just kills us faster, Alcohol breaks down the liver. Food breaks down the entire terrain. Excess sugar, excessive eating, emotional eating. They are not just habits. They are the slow drip of self-destruction in disguise. The only difference? One addiction comes with shame, the other comes with birthday cake. Now let's talk about fasting. People think it's dangerous. They say, "Oh no, you are starving yourself." But what's actually dangerous isn't fasting. It's the state of the body you're fasting with. A body that's full of sludge, parasites, yeast, mucus, undigested waste, clogged bile ducts, and congested liver can't handle real detox. Why? Because when you stop feeding the addiction, everything you've been suppressing comes up, physically, emotionally, energetically. It's the same as alcohol withdrawal. The moment you stop drinking, your body screams, not because sobriety is harmful, but because the system is full of rot that's finally been unmasked. And here is the wild part. It's not even you that can't survive the fast. It's organisms you've been unknowingly feeding. Fungi, parasites, yeast, mold, worms. They've made a home inside of you, and they've trained your nervous system to protect them. So, when you stop eating, it's not your hunger that panics, it's theirs. This is why fasting, true fasting, must be done with reverence, preparation, and love. Not as punishment, not as restriction, but as a sacred act of liberation, a way to reclaim your body as a temple of life, not a feeding ground for unconscious forces. Because beneath the cravings, beneath the noise, beneath the coded patterns in your DNA, is a body that remembers how to live on light, breath, love, and presence. And when you cleanse the temple, the body awakens, and it no longer begs for what it never needed. Ready to go there? Let's address the elephant in the room. The stories people love to share with someone fails on a vegan or raw vegan food path. See, she was a raw vegan and died. He was fruitarian and got sick. He starved himself and wasted away. But here what is no one ever questions. What about the billions of people dying from food? Dying slowly, gradually. From inflammation, overconsumption, cancer, diabetes, heart failure, dementia, organ collapse. Food-induced diseases normalized, disguised, and stretched across decades. That's called aging. That's called getting older. But let's be honest, it's a slow poisoning. Yes, we sometimes see vegans or fruitarians failing. But what we don't see is the why. Because raw veganism is not a destination. It's not the final step. It's just a bridge. Many stop there thinking they've arrived. They eat the fruits, the salads, the smoothies, but they never go deeper. They don't enhance the pranic body. They do not open consciousness, spiritual awakening. They don't cleanse the old terrain. They never truly remove the ancient parasitic imprint, the fish-borne flukes, the meat-encoded larvae, the mucus mold colonies hiding deep inside the liver channels and bile ducts. Some of those organisms can stay dormant for 10, 15, even 20 years, waiting for the moment you slip, waiting for the emotional crush, waiting for the bite of cooked food or animal protein to come back. And then they remerge, and the cycle begins again. So yes, just eating raw won't save you. You can eat fruit all day and still be feeding candida. You can go vegan and still be ruled by unconscious hunger. You can stop eating meat, but still carry the spiritual frequency of prey and predator inside your tissues. Because this isn't about diet. This is about transformation at all levels. Real liberation only happens when you move beyond food altogether, when the body is so clean, so clear, that it begins to absorb energy directly from life itself, from light if you like, from breath, from consciousness, from the idea that I'm energy and I'm not only flesh. But that level of nourishment isn't available when your system is full of ancient waste. It's not about what you eat. It's about what you haven't yet released. So this path isn't for trend followers or purists. It's not about labels like vegan or liquidarian or fruitarian. It's about the inner evolution of the body as a divine vessel. If you feel called to this remembrance, to this sacred inner resurrection, keep listening. Because the body you were born into is not yet the body you can become. Let's now pull the thread back, all the way to the ancient times, to the ancient Vedas. They weren't just philosophical texts. They were blueprints of human potential. They spoke of an era when beings walked this earth in full light, with clarity, purity, connection to source, and immortality. Immortality as not just idea, it was their nature. But as the cycles of time turned, we entered what the Vedas call Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, distortion, ignorance, and deep forgetting. It was foreseen that the humans would begin to eat death, to consume the flesh of other beings, to sacrifice their inner flame for a moment of sensory pleasures. And that this fall would not just cost them their purity, but their very immortality. They would become what they consumed, dense, reactive, sick, aging, animal-like. And here we are. We fear death, we fear disease, yet we feed on it every day. We call it comfort food, we call it cheat day, but the only ones really cheating are the worms and parasites who are already living inside us, feasting silently on the very flesh we think is ours. Yes, it sounds harsh. but it's true. Talk to any experienced forensic pathologist or anatomist, and they will tell you, after death, many human bodies are found with rotting, stinking, decomposing guts, layers of old fecal matter stuck to the intestinal walls, mucus-packed colon folds, parasites, pus-filled gallbladders, liver flukes, and tumors. It's not poetic, it's not spiritual, it's visceral, real, and disgusting. But here is the kicker, that rot doesn't start after death. It's been sitting there for decades, while you were laughing, eating, working, posting photos of your dinner. You were already fermenting from the inside. And then we wonder why we sweat with a strange smell, why our poop is foul, why our breath stinks even after brushing. Let me ask you, if everything coming out of you stinks, what do you think is going on inside? Yet, and here is the miracle, even in this dark age, there are still those who rise. People who feel the pull to clean the temple, to walk the razor's edge between density and divinity, who begin to fast, to purify, to raise frequency, not to become better humans, but to transcend being human altogether. They are not ascetics, they are not escaping life, they are embodying immortality, not as a fantasy, but as a state of vibration. They eat less, they breathe more, they sleep in different way, they feel clearer, they begin to be nourished by something that has no calories but holds all power. So no, this path is not for everyone. It's only available to people who are ready. Probably we can talk about karma here and reincarnations because not everyone needs this experience. But if you're still listening to this video, probably it's your path too. If you are tired of feeding death while pretending it's life, if you know deep down you were born for more than this dance, decay and dance, then stay close because this isn't the end. It's the exit from the cycle, not by running away, but by burning through it with the fire of truth. And that truth begins in your gut. Let's keep going, because as you begin to awaken, another trap awaits, a new kind of illusion, not from the world of meat and medicine, but from the world of spirituality. Welcome to the New Age matrix, where people speak only of bliss, love, and light, where everyone smiles through pain, where darkness is embraced, but never really transmuted. It's a space where discomfort is bypassed, where truth is diluted, and where real cellular transformation is replaced by Instagram quotes and cacao ceremonies, or ayahuasca ceremonies. And let me tell you, the path to light is not always pleasant. It's not supposed to be. It's a very hard path, because when your body starts to release all the density, when ancient trauma, stored waste, parasites, and karmic imprints rise to the surface, it can feel like death. Not metaphorically, literally. It's headaches, nausea, fatigue, skin eruptions, emotional breakdowns. This is the real work. And if you're not willing to walk through that fire, you don't get to carry the light. And unfortunately, everyone will face consequences of consumption just a little bit later, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 10, who knows when. Then there is the other delusion, the one that says, everything is consciousness, so I can just eat what I want. I'll manifest my health. And yes, to a certain degree, that's true, if you truly awakened. Some advanced beings can taste toxins, smoke cigarettes, or sip vodka without immediate damage. Why? Because they are reached a state where their consciousness overrides matter temporarily. But here is the thing, it doesn't last long, because the body has its own sacred evolution. It's not a puppet for your mind. It's not here to be bypassed. Eventually, it will reject what no longer matches its frequency. You can't stay a high vibration and continue feeding on low vibration substances. Maybe only for a while after initial spiritual awakening, when you are still learning how to handle high frequencies to ground yourself, not to fly away. But this is only stabilization period. The body becomes intolerant to density, not out of limitation, but out of refinement. This is why the real path involves preparing the body, not just visualizing light, opening heart chakra, but building a body that can hold it. And that's why, without cleansing your body with natural methods, it won't work. I checked on myself, and who knows where would I be in my consumption if not Herbal Detox program. It's not a quick fix, not as a cleanse and go. It took me about 3 years of cleansing by now, very active cleansing for 1.5 years, and it's not finished yet. A slow, sustainable unraveling of what's not you. A path that gently rewires the nervous system, clears the organs, heals the gut, and brings people back to clean, rare, and conscious eating. In our practice with my colleague Kate, people who could not go a day without snacks now eat twice a day or once a day, light and clear. People who had skin issues, bloating, inflammation, they now are glowing, quiet and still. Not because they forced anything, but because the body remembered. The process is long, yes, but so is dying from what you eat. And every single day of cleansing is a step closer to the version of you that doesn't need to feed on anything because you've become the source itself. Let's pause here because before we move into preparation and cleansing, we need to speak the uncomfortable truth. When you step onto this path, the real path of inner purification and freedom from food addiction, society will not celebrate you. You will be seen as extreme. Friends may call you orthorexic, obsessed, self-denying. Family might worry for you, or worse, try to fix you forcefully. You will be told life is to be enjoyed. Just eat the cake. Be like everyone. It's not something wrong with them or you. It's just reality we're living in. And everyone just have no understanding, no deep connection to the body and its reactions on food. And this is not the path of control. It's not about proving anything. That's why I think the best conditions for this path is to live alone. Probably still being in society, but not telling about your practices. And take all responsibility for your journey on your own. Or have a guide, someone who explains you what stages you will face, not to be afraid, because a lot of fears will be awakened in you as well. And these are not your fears even, you guess whose fears they are. This path is definitely not about the ego. Because here is another danger, not from society now, but from within. The spiritual ego that whispers, I don't need food, I'm higher than others, I'm light, I've transcended. Be careful, it's the parasite wearing a crown. The ego mind is a program. We should understand this. It's a structure, it's a part of matrix. And very often, it represents the parasite matrix itself. The part of you that still seeks superiority, separation, control. True liberation from food has nothing to do with superiority. It's not about saying, I can live without food and you cannot. It's about saying, I want to become pure enough to remember what I truly am. Quietly, privately, sacredly. So share this path only with those who feel the call in their bones, not those who argue, but those who remember. And now, the internal withdrawal. When you stop feeding addiction, it's not just your body that detoxes, your emotional body does too. And one of the first things people report is this: life lost its colors. Everything feels flat. It's like a drug addict in rehab. The pleasure centers are burned out, the artificial highs are gone, and suddenly you feel like you're floating in a gray cloud. That's why I think that spiritual awakening should come first, and simultaneously herbal detox, because otherwise it will be too hard for psyche to stand any days of fastings or even changing diet to more light type. But anyways, no matter how hard it is, this is natural. It's not failure. It's not because your body is depleted. It's a sign you are living the matrix, the old matrix of your body, which was living in suffering. You no longer get your daily dopamine from coffee, sugar, pasta, pastries, salty snacks, emotional binge eating. So now what? Now you create new life with new habits. That's why I call it lifestyle. You become a being who is nourished by nature, sunlight, air, trees, bird songs, movement, dancing, cycling, stretching, swimming, climbing, whatever you like, art, painting, music, poetry, creating beauty, creating businesses. depth, real conversations, real silence, presence. No more primitive talks, mystery, breath work, dream work, meditation, spiritual vision. You have to recode joy into your system, not from stimulation, but from resonance, not from hype, but from harmony. So yes, this path will isolate you at times. It will strip you. You will feel misunderstood. You will feel alone. And it's also the part of spiritual growth. But eventually, you'll stop needing the old world, and the emptiness will become fullness. You will begin to feel nourished, fed again, not from the plate, but from the pulse of the cosmos itself. This is sacred, this is personal, and this is yours. This path is not about competition and austerity, as I told you before, and let's be honest, very few people have truly gone beyond both food and water. I know some people, but they are not so many, and it doesn't matter. It matters how much and how often you eating. People who are not eating and drinking at all just develop their consciousness a little bit further. It's rare and it's sacred, and those who've done it doesn't post selfies about it. And you understand why, because of ignorant society. And believe me, if you step on this path as me, you will be less and less interested to share your own experience with someone else, because of a lot of aggression and misunderstanding. And also I can say that because you realize that this is a very personal path and you cannot force someone, impose something, save someone. People who live in another stage of consciousness walk quietly, radiating something overworldly. But what isn't rare anymore and is absolutely accessible is light nutrition, or rare nutrition. I don't want to call it malnutrition because it has negativity to it. I personally know people who eat 2-3 times a week, and they are not weak, pale, or obsessed. They are glowing, clear-minded, sharp, ageless. They feel free, not because they have more, but because they need less. And that's what this is about. Not about being superhuman, but about being human again, fully, unclogged, undistracted, aligned. Because when you stop obsessing about food, buying it, storing it, cooking it, chewing it, digesting it, eliminating it, recovering from it, you suddenly had this wild amount of energy and time. And that energy is not random. It was always meant for your purpose, your mission, your creativity, your presence. But most people can't even hear the voice of their soul over the sound of their churning gut and brain fog. They are sick, tired, medicated, and miserable, not because something is wrong with them, but because they are overfed, undernourished, and completely hijacked. So no, you don't have to become a breatharian overnight. That's not the point. The point is, can you reclaim your energy? Can you stop leaking it into cravings, habits, doctor visits, pills, supplements, and endless cycles of consumption? Because the moment you do, the moment your body begins to actually heal, to rest, to detox, to remember, you realize how incredible life can feel. You're not spending your paycheck on pills and powders. You're not dragging yourself to specialists who don't even know your name. You're not bloated, anxious, or enslaved by a fridge. You are light. You are clear. You are back. So let the first goal be this. Be healthy. Not supplement healthy, not gym healthy. Be truly, cellularly, biologically, energetically clean. Let that be the first step, and from there, a whole new level will open. A life where nourishment is a frequency, not a shopping list. And that kind of life doesn't need validation, it speaks for itself. So most of my life, I didn't even know what energy in the body really meant. I was constantly tired, living with anemia, weakness, and even signs of dystrophy from a clogged and toxic gut. Can you imagine food, the thing we are told is our source of life, was actually draining me? There was plenty of food consumed, but nothing was being absorbed. My body was malnourished at the deepest level. On top of that, I have Gilbert's syndrome, which affects the liver's ability to detox properly. And looking back now, one of my deepest regrets is that I ever drank alcohol, that I ever abused this body. I treated my body, as most people on planet, like a machine I could push, neglect, override, and use it only for pleasures, not realizing that my body is the foundation of my reality. And the worst part, while we are abusing the body, we're not just suffering inside. We begin to attract suffering from the outside. When your inner system is polluted, neglected, and in pain, your life mirrors that chaos. The relationships, the opportunities, the emotions, the events. You attract what you vibrate in. The body is not just a shell. It's the transmitter of your entire reality, the stage where your game of life is projected outward. Each of us is living in our own reality bubble, but when you look around, it's clear that the collective reality isn't doing well either. Why? Because most people have no idea where to look for truth. They are so occupied with the outer image, so hypnotized by appearances, survival, competition, comparison, that they never stop long enough to look within. But the moment you do, everything begins to shift. The body, the energy, the mind, the mirror of your life. And once you taste that, you never want to go back. To be honest, I once thought of stopping talking about all this topic entirely, because I know deeply each soul must walk their own path of awakening. No one can be forced. Everyone is on their own timeline. But the truth is, if it weren't for my teachers, I would have never discovered this wisdom either. This information is so simple, so close, so obvious, yet we don't see it until someone points and explains. I first heard about life without food back in 2012 or 2013, when there were only a few scattered videos on YouTube about Russian Pranic people, and something inside me resonated deeply. At that time, I was only 24 or 25 years old, but already deeply exhausted, low blood pressure, zero energy, a constant sense of depletion. I didn't know where to start, so I began the journey the wrong way. After reading the book by Vadim Zeland, Reality Transurfing, maybe you know this book, I read it back in 2012, and when it was not dubbed in English, I decided literally overnight to become a raw vegan because the author recommended it to boost your energy and make manifestations much quicker. But sadly, he didn't mention the need to cleanse the body from parasites first. So there I was eating bowl after bowl of raw food in huge quantities, and still I lost 10 kilos, which is about 22 pounds. For my body type, it was critical. And yes, I felt amazing inside. My hemoglobin raised. I was skinny, but full of life, full of fire, playing guitar and so on. However, I looked terrible, so thin and bony that even my own mother panicked, thinking I had anorexia. By the way, anorexia have nothing to do with fastings and spiritual path. It's mental disease. Okay, eventually I admitted, yes, I looked unhealthy and I got scared. So I went back to eating everything except animal products. And looking back now, I think if only I had met my colleague Kate earlier with her beautiful, gentle, step-by-step full-body cleansing program, I would have already been much cleaner and healthier by now. We have to stop being naive and thinking all the 30, 40, or 50 years of polluting the body will become clean in a day, just by doing an enema or shank prakshalana, or even Epsom salt or whatever castor oil cleansing. It doesn't work like that. Parasites are embedded in our intracellular spaces, hiding in every organ, entire colonies like a dried-out tree occupied by fungal parasites. Parasitology as a science used to flourish, but as you might guess, it's not profitable for modern medicine, so it's ignored, dismissed, or ridiculed. But our liberation begins here, by reclaiming the sovereignty of our body, by learning to clean, nourish, and truly listen to it again. And I share this story not to convince you passing herbal detox, but I want to offer it to those who, like me back then, are tired and ready. Probably you're making enormous quantities of fastings and depleting yourself and feel horrible, lightheaded, you have blackouts, you have problems with your guts, you feel disgusting on fastings, you have huge intoxication. Then it's a sign you need herbal detox. One of the things I absolutely love about this program is how you simply stop being hungry way all the time, not because you are disciplining yourself, not because of willpower, but because the inner biochemistry changes. You no longer have that acidic internal environment constantly demanding food. You no longer have that intense bile stimulation that keeps triggering cravings. Bile that wants more and more food just to neutralize the acids. It's a natural insulin regulation, very similar to what people now describe when they use drugs like Ozempic for weight loss. For diabetes actually, but they started to abuse this medicine just to look beautiful. But in case of herbal detox, alchemy of health, it's without injections, without chemicals, and without side effects. It's very smooth and gradual. Let's be honest, many people who use Ozempic experience have some serious consequences. And there are many cases I watched online, You can find too. Nausea, vomiting, gallbladder issues, inflammation of the pancreas, muscle loss, long-term digestive disruption, and even emotional dullness or depressive episodes. That's the price of manipulating your body unnaturally. And it's business, okay, sure. But here, through a cleansing and harmonizing approach, the effect is similar. You simply don't crave what you used to. There is no more mouth-watering desire when you see pastries, pizza, or fries. It's like in the Pavlov's dog experiment. If you don't know, that was a Soviet experiment that showed how the brain gets conditioned. Every time they rang a bell, the dog would salivate, expecting food, just like we do. When we see ads, smells, plates, we react like programmed creatures, like Pavlov's dog. But through this detox process, the programming dissolves. You finally experience freedom from the most primal loop. It's liberating, deeply peaceful, and even spiritually uplifting. Imagine waking up refreshed, or even stop sleeping, clear-minded and energized every single day. We excited to offer this personalized body detox program, and Kate adores all her clients, and she put her soul into customizing your own personal herbal detox program. So what you should expect after you pass herbal detox? Some flavors, especially sweets, become downright disgusting and impossible to eat. Your entire perception of food shifts, not by force, but by the deep cellular cleansing. Your body will tell you on its own what you need. I've seen people who, within a year, managed to let go of alcohol, quit smoking weed, cut off meat and dairy products, and transited to a light vegan diet. It's a powerful shift, and it's absolutely possible. But let's be clear, if someone wants to move fully into pranic nourishment, it takes more than just diet. It requires a much deeper kind of work, especially on the psycho-emotional and energetic levels. You will need to integrate yogic practices like conscious breathing, meditations, inner stillness, Kundalini yoga kriyas for sure, and most importantly, you will need a direct experience of yourself as spirit, as one, not just a mental concept but a lived reality. You should be in an expanded state of consciousness to absorb prana, to absorb energy from cosmos. Only then does the body start to respond differently to matter. You begin to feel energy as nourishment. You start breathing through your skin. You start to experience that everything is energy, not as an idea, but as truth in your cells. And that's when the program of food begins to dissolve naturally. It may take 10 years, but with proper herbal detox or 2 cycles of herbal detox, it can last about 5 years. In my consideration, probably you will move much quicker if you're already fruitarian or raw vegan. This process happens not through suppression, but through a shift in frequency, a remembering, a return. And from that place, letting go of food becomes a joyful process of liberation, not a battle. Remember, maybe you had some bad craving to coffee, to alcohol, cigarettes, and once you felt like you no longer crave your drug, you were feeling so liberated. And again, What transformation awaits you if you pass Alchemy of Health Herbal Detox program? When you detox the right way, you experience deep inner cleansing, flush all toxins and metabolic waste that overload your liver, kidneys, and intestines. For example, just like unclogging a kitchen sink allows water to flow freely again, detoxing clears your lymphatic and digestive systems so your body runs smoothly. Also, you eliminate parasitic infections that may be silently stealing your nutrients and causing inflammation or bloating. You will restore organ function and metabolism. Your liver will regenerate. It can regrow up to 70% if damaged. Your pancreas will stabilize blood sugar, and your kidneys will filter more efficiently. Science fact: a sluggish liver can result in fat storage, hormone imbalances, and chronic fatigue. Detox rejuvenates it to do what it was built for: detoxification. Liver is organ of immortality. Blood and lymph will be purified, improving nutrient delivery and waste removal across your body. Also, you will normalize all your metabolic processes, leading to natural fat loss, especially around the belly, hips, and chin. You will feel changes in your skin, mind, and energy. The epidermis will be deeply hydrated, smoothing out wrinkles and reversing signs of aging. People often notice a glow to their skin and sudden softness they haven't felt in years. Mental fog will lift. A detoxed brain is an oxygenated brain. Cerebral circulation will improve. Depression, anxiety, and apathy will begin to fade. You will feel more energetic, agile, and motivated, even on minimal food intake, because your cells are finally getting what they need. Also, your body will reject any harm. After 3 months of herbal detox, your body no longer will crave caffeine, sugar, alcohol, or heavy meals. Even if your psyche still craves, you will try to eat it again, and then it will fall away. You will feel full faster and more satisfied with less. Real-life observation here. Ever feel like napping after a big lunch? That's your body going into emergency mode to process the excess. After detox, you will feel light, alert, and productive, even after eating, because your eating obviously will be lighter. Cravings disappear. You won't even want the processed, heavy, or harmful foods anymore. Your body begins to instinctively crave what nourishes it. At your stage of nutrition, you will also gain rejuvenation on every level. Acne, psoriasis, and skin conditions will start to clear. Cellulite, orange peel, and fat folds will fade. Internal organ walls will thicken and strengthen. Ulcers, gastritis, and gut pain will ease naturally. Heavy metal salts and cholesterol plaques will be broken down and flushed out, protecting your heart and brain. What makes the program different? Because you can find some herbs online and randomly apply to yourself, but this is not one-size-fits-all detox. It's custom built for your body based on a personal questionnaire reviewed by our wellness expert, Kate. It's powered by 15-16 natural components, herbs, known for their purifying, anti-inflammatory, and regenerating properties. And for you, they should be personally chosen. For your body and your health condition, some herbs can be harmful. Also, dosages is very important. This program is designed to work gradually over 120 days, gently but effectively, restoring your body to its optimal state. You will get step-by-step introduction to detox science, what happens inside your body and why it matters, a full list of natural ingredients with powerful benefits, links to pure, potent herbs, and its only recommendation you can purchase yourself. Then, daily intake schedules tailored to your needs, nutritional guidance, including shopping lists, recipe ideas, and how to identify truly toxic ingredients in your diet. Your future becomes clean, clear, powerful. Imagine not needing coffee or any stimulant to wake up. Imagine eating less but having more energy. Imagine your test results improving, your skin glowing, and your body moving like years younger, and you look younger. So it's all through just proper cleansing. Cool, isn't it? You save money, you save time, you save years of your life. And best of all, you feel like yourself again. But better, maybe, like you never felt before. Absolutely. As I always say, the choice is yours. I've made mine, and I've never looked back. When I see people my age already struggling with fatigue, brain fog, and chronic issues, I simply whisper to myself, no, thank you. And honestly, I can only imagine how difficult it must be to live inside a weak, aching body at 60, 70 or beyond. But let's be real. We know the reason. While mainstream medicine keeps digging for answers, publishing studies funded by corporations, we walk the ancient, natural path. And it's working. Thank you for sharing this moment with me, and I was super glad to share what I know. If anything resonated with you, my contact info is in the description under this video. Until next time, stay true and kind, the rest things never mind. Your body is listening, so is life.